It is, of course, a beautiful day indeed. I hope you are happy, well rested, and blessed. This is Easing Into Purpose with me, J.Thebehadi. Of course, Studio Media 3 is where it's at, powered by Focus Media SA. Today, I'm so excited to be having one of our own, the lady and sister, mother, a wife, a person who has become a point of focus for me for so many times on social media platforms. I have had a very rare opportunity of meeting her sometime in the not so distant past, and the kind of vibe and personality that she oozes is beyond, measure, and she absolutely had to be on the set on Easing Into Purpose with me. And I'm talking about none other than Mrs. ONELA SIGOBELWANA. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
How are you doing?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I couldn't do better. You graced me when I asked you to come and take the seat on Sogol. I appreciate that a lot because I expect you actually to be very busy. I've been looking up you are all over the show, Mrs. Gobelwana.
Yeah.
And how has the last few months been keeping you in terms of, your activities, the things that you're doing out there?
I've been very busy, to a point where almost every month, there's something almost every month. At first, when it all started, it used to give me anxiety so much that because when you're going to go to a place and you're expected to speak, sometimes you ask yourself questions like, what if they see in me? What do they want? Like, I mean, there are so many of us, and then when you have to go there, you have to prepare now. So when it all started out, I used to panic a lot. I used to be frustrated a lot. I used to get sick a lot, to a point where there are so many events I went to and speak, and I did not sleep the previous night.
Oh my word.
And it only took me like an hour to be able to prepare on that day.
Okay.
But with time, I started to get used to it. And with time, I started to enjoy doing it, because it's quite different when you have to be present than doing it online and at the comfort of your own house. So I had those challenges, but with time, I got used to it.
So what you're saying to me right now is you're no longer getting sick before you go and do the speaking.
I think I can safely say yes. Yeah.
For those that do not know, Mrs. Gobelwana is an influencer, but she's not just an influencer. She's a specific type of an influencer, and I'm not going to be going and running around it. She is intentionally into that space for a particular purpose. You are a Christian influencer. Can you explain to us what a Christian influencer is? Okay,
a Christian influencer, I think when I looked at, in fact, I called myself a Christian influencer, and I later went to look what a Christian influencer is according to social media. And I realized that what I'm doing is quite different to what they're doing, because you'd find that most of them, they're all about posting scriptures, doing Bible journaling, and doing Bible quizzes,
Which, by the way, is not necessarily bad.
Yes. And then when I started out doing live sessions where if the Holy Spirit would drop a message to me, I would go online, I would preach that message, I would pray for people, I would do fasting days, I would do prayer walks. I just recently did a prayer walk. So basically, Christian influencing is going on social media and influencing people. It's like online evangelism.
Oh yes.
Like back in the days, we would go out, put tents, do open airs. But now, because things are modern, we are doing it online. So it's basically that, going online and influencing people about the Word of God, teaching people, journeying with different people of different places with God and with their Christian journey. Yeah. And
basically what actually that sounds like, it sounds like just purely an evangelist, and you just in a space. And I have reason to believe that your coming into that space is actually with the season and with the time. I remember the greatest time that I actually started seeing you do what you do. In fact, I actually know you better from that time, the lockdown.
Okay.
That's when you started well, not you started. That's when I started noticing, you doing what you're doing, and you stayed in that. And I'll tell you the reason why I actually noticed you, because that is a time when I also took the cameras up and then started to say that people are in the houses and there's a stress, there are suicidal thoughts, and there were a lot of things that were happening. And at that time, people could not go to church, where they actually would find, that kind of a support and that ease of anxiety and anxiety, and you kept on doing it after that. Was it brought about by the lockdown, or is it something that you always have?
Okay, it was not brought by the lockdown.
Okay.
I started influencing way before the lockdown.
Okay.
But most people did not notice me or did not know of me, because at that time I was struggling to find my niche.
Oh, yes.
I was struggling to find my why. Why am I doing this? I always had it in me that I'm going to be an influencer. As soon as I learned about what influencers are, I realized that these people have got so much power and they've got so much voice.
Oh, that's true.
Yes, that's online. True. So I wanted to be that person, but I was not quite sure. So if someone had been following me prior to the lockdown, they would see that I've tried doing beauty, I've tried doing fashion, I've tried doing perfumes. Like I've tried doing a lot of different niches, but I would get exhausted easily and quickly. Yeah. Like I would do beauty, and then when I have to do my next filming, I'm exhausted, I'm drained. I actually hate even this thing I'm going to do. And I would not be so confident.
Nothing pushes you. You actually have to push out of the reserve tank to actually do that.
Sometimes I would shoot a video, and when I'm done and I'm watching it, I'm like, no. I don't like this. After shooting it. Imagine after putting in makeup and preparing and dressing up and everything.
Makeup is expensive.
And I felt that this thing is taking a lot from me. I must now prepare certain outfits. I must look like this, and I must put on makeup, and then I must do. So I felt like it was just a lot. So I kept on doing it, but I was not consistent.
Yes.
Up until I watched one video I did where I shared a scripture, and for the first time I felt this feels good. I felt this is me. This comes naturally. This is what I want to do. I started doing it. But when I started doing it, I was still a bit skeptical, because, you are young, and one of the things that we young people are, I don't want to say afraid of, maybe in lack of a better word, we are afraid of going on social media and being known that we are born again Christians. We want to compromise. We want everyone to, we want to be relevant. We want to be acceptable. We want to be acceptable, So when I started doing it in small portions, because I didn't want to be too much, So when I started doing it, and one day I realized that, I feel like I'm not doing enough. Every time I would do it, I felt it was not enough. Until one evening, I decided to just go live, because there was this burning sensation in me. There was this word, there was this message. I started doing a live. I started preaching on that live. I did not talk, I preached.
Oh, yeah?
I started preaching on that live. And as I was preaching, people were reacting, people were sending in comments. And as I was preaching, because, the funny thing about preaching online, especially on a live, you can see their reaction. It's different when you're doing it in a church setup, because some would just be quiet, but now they're commenting, and you are reading the comments as you are preaching. So I got a bit overwhelmed, but I was like, this feels good. As I saw the hearts, I felt this feels good, and I kept on doing it. And after that session, I never stopped.
And this is a very interesting thing when you say that. Then in the church, you probably would not get that kind of a feedback, but you actually get that feedback online. Well, I have a different take to that. I feel like I want to be with some people, and and if you're not going to shout, and I'm gonna yank it out of you. But online is it's a different story altogether. But also, what is actually happening there is not only those that are actually reacting and interacting. There are people who are just watching there and they're not interacting and whatnot. What is, in your opinion, the importance of really Christians? Because you said something that is very crucial here, that people are afraid. Christians are afraid to come out and say, I'm a child of God. I'm a Christian. Once you say you're a Christian, there's this pressure that comes onto you. We expect a lot from you. And some of the expectations, of course, are ridiculous. But they're going to be put on you. How do you then deal with that kind of... have you ever actually even thought about it? Have you met that kind of a situation where that all of a sudden there's a pressure on you because now you're preaching the word of God, you're preaching about a lifestyle that is godly?
There is that pressure every day of my life. I live to that pressure because now, because you're a Christian influencer and you've gone out there and that is how you title yourself, people, you can't make a mistake in front of them. You must always be joyous. You can't be feeling down. You can't be like this. Like I recently had, because I just joined the TikTok space. So I recently posted a video on TikTok praying at the beach. And people are like, you are not supposed to dress like this. You are not supposed to do this. Why are you filming? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? So every day I live up to that pressure. But one thing I always tell myself is that this is the only thing I've come on this earth to do. Others have come to do businesses. Others have come to do makeup. Others have come to... So if I'm going to be apologetic, then it means I'm not living my fullest. So those pressures, they are there, especially as a Christian, and those expectations. Sometimes, I take those expectations in a positive way. I've had to pray for people who are like, I can't have children. I've never prayed for someone who cannot conceive. I've never prayed for someone who's at the verge of getting divorced. I've never prayed for someone who wants to kill themselves now. But those expectations, when they come to you, they come to you expecting answers. You can't say to them, I don't know. The minute you give them that answer, I don't know, I don't have a solution, you are making them feel that you are rejecting them, or you are being off towards them, or you are being selective, you have your own people. So those expectations have put me on that spot, and they've stretched me. Honestly, they've stretched me. I took them positively. Sometimes sometimes it is draining. I don't want to lie. It is draining. The Christian influencing, I feel like it's the most difficult thing to do, because people have this, they put you on this pedestal and they want you to live your life according to the way that they've put you on. It is draining, but I'm thriving.
But you said, as you said, it is draining and tiring and all of. But then you said before that this is something that you and I immediately, coined this in my head, that this is what easing into purpose is, because then when you are in your purpose, it doesn't take a lot of struggle. As you said, you tried all these other things before and you felt like, geez, like this is too laborious to do. But then when you found your purpose, you just slid into it. And even those pressures, when they come, you find a way to deal with them. You find a way, of course, to actually, as you say, to learn something from them, take them in the positive way instead of the way that you would do if it was in another context. And having said that, I have had a good reason to believe that people think if you're preaching the breakthrough of Christ, if you're speaking, success, if you're speaking success over people's life, blessings and all of that, that we do not expect you to be having challenges, that all is well with you. Have you come across that kind of a thing? And how do we actually demystify that myth?
That's very true, Jay. One of the things I taught myself when I started this influencing is that I'm going to be very authentic. Every now and again, when I'm preaching, when I'm sharing a word, I would always say, especially if I know that I am not at a certain point, that when I'm preaching it, they would believe that I'm at that point, I would make disclaimers like, it's not that things are going well for me. I'm not preaching because I've got it all. I'm not doing it because I've achieved it all, because even Paul says that, not that I've achieved it all, but I choose to press towards the mark of the so that is that's one of my scriptures that I always hold on to, and I always emphasize that I'm not doing this because all is well. I'm not saying you're going to have money because I have all the money in the world. I have all the things that I want, I have them. But I'm doing it because I believe that one day the Lord is going to give them to me. I believe that one day I'm going to receive my breakthrough. So I always experience those things, and when I'm experiencing them, I always make sure that I'm very honest with them. Because I don't want people coming to me believing that I have it all, but I know that I have something that can lead to me having it all, but currently I don't have it.
You don't have it all. And there are, of course, some of the testimonies that actually keep you going. And there are things that, every now and then you even when it gets tiring along the way, something that picks you up. But can you share some of those experiences with us? Obviously, I'm sure there's quite a lot of them, and some of them can be insignificant, and others are like way up there.
Yeah, one of them that I can think of now is of a lady. She's based in Joburg. I do, of course, share them on my Instagram, but I don't reveal the names. Okay. This lady, she was working as a cleaner at where she was working. And then as we were praying, because I remember at this time we had a 7-day of fasting and prayer. So every morning I would pray on YouTube and send the prayers at 5 a.m. And then in the evenings at 7, we'd have a live prayer. So we'd declare that today we are praying for employment, on this day we are praying for barrenness, on this day we are praying for marriages, and this day we're praying for education. So this lady, she was working as a cleaner at her workplace. And when she applied, we had that prayer, and one of the things that I was emphasizing on that prayer, because we were reading on the book of Hannah, I was saying to that, God will even qualify those people who do not qualify.
Oh, yes.
That when they see your CV, when they see your resume, even if you do not qualify, but they will want to take a risk with you. They will say, okay, let's just, let's see where this takes us with her. So that happened for her. She changed from being a cleaner to being a receptionist.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently she got triple of what she was earning. So that for me, it was something big, it was something big, because as she was sharing her testimony, she did not qualify. She did not have grade 12, but she was someone who was talented. She was someone who believed that she could do anything, but it's just that she did not have the certificates, because, in the days we live in, you can be good in something, but if you don't have something that's going to back you up, then that's it. So for this lady, she did not have grade 12, she did not have certain things that they wanted, but she was good.
Oh, yes.
So she was qualified, she got the job, and when she sent me that DM, she also sent me a voice message crying. So for me, it was like, if God can do this for someone, if God can prove his word to someone, then why should I not continue doing this? Right. Why should I give up? I've even had someone in Botswana naming their child after me.
OMG.
Because apparently she could not have children. So she gave birth and she named the child ONELA. So those are the things that keep me going. Sometimes I go and pray and I've just had the worst day. And when I pray and I outpour my heart. Sometimes it really has got nothing to do with my people. It's got a lot to do with my heart. And as I'm outpouring my heart, someone out there is also feeling the same, and they would tap into that and they would be okay.
A lot of the times when you speak as a Christian, in the country and in the world that we're living in, some of the things that you say sound crazy.
Yeah.
You're talking about faith for what? There are people who are actually faith tired.
Yeah.
There are people who have given up hope, but not only have given up hope, they have actually, some of them have actually had a raw deal along the way in their path of faith. And then there are those that have not even been there, that hear you speaking about the power of God and you, all of these things. Ingati uteta magic, ingati uteta something that is supernatural, and I have learned this in my own approach to online evangelism in my own way, that a lot of the times, even as Christians, what we need is not really this miracle, because we already have a miracle.
Yes.
The miracle that we have is our mindset.
Yeah.
That was pre-packed. The miracle that we have is our heart. And you find that a lot of the times we have missed out on opportunities, not because it was not the time, but because we were not in our where we're supposed we're supposed to be found at, where we're supposed to be in terms of our own purpose. How do you speak to the person who says, I want to hear what you say, I want to understand what you say, I want to experience the power of this thing that you are talking about. But then there's this thing, how do you help a person to actually transcend from that and break into that space of understanding the message that you are trying to share? Because I have reason to believe that you're not only looking at Christians, but also reaching out to those that do not, have not had the grace to come into the knowledge of God.
Okay. First of all, we need to come to understand that ubuthixo okanye salvation, it's not a religion, it's a relationship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when you understand that it's a relationship, you will come to understand that lento phakathi kwakho noThixo. We most of the time we choose to live this path because I was disappointed at church. I was disappointed by this person. I was, because we are humans and we are bound to fail each other.
Yes.
But when we choose to focus on the relationship, I like to say that a relationship must has its ups and downs. But as long as you are committed to that person, as long as you know that I want to be with this person and irregardless of whatever happens. Sometimes you would do, for example, you would do a fasting. You fast for 3 days and you happen on one day and you eat, and then you find that you are not supposed to eat. It's a relationship. In a relationship, when you have done something wrong and you account and you go and you apologize, that person will forgive you. So we need to come to understand that having Christ is having a father, is having a relationship. We are teta nat and we also speak to him. And when we want to see the change, we have to be in constant communication with this person. In any relationship, for it to grow, you have to spend time with that person. Of course, if we are going to part-time that person, that relationship is going to have problems. If we are not going to spend time, that relationship is going to have problems. So for someone who's saying, Ikawa has failed me, people have failed me, I want to say to them, try having a relationship then with God.
With God and not the church
and not
particularly.
The church and not the people. Try having a relationship with God. Try making a point that every day you're going to speak to God. During the day, you're going to speak to God. Before you go to bed, you're going to speak with God. Because we know in any relationship, say for example, a marital relationship, I speak with my husband when I wake up in the morning. During the day, I'm checking up on him. All right, he's checking up on me. Try doing that with God and see where it's going to take you. Because in that has made us sing ifuni in the Dibenson and Gons, it's because we treat it as a religion. If you did not come to prayer, if you did not come to church, God is going to punish you. God is going to do this. God is not a God who operates like that. He's a father. When your child has done wrong, there's something I also like to say is that the way I've grown in my Christian journey with God, there would be days where I would just shut away from everything and I would just go and be with God and it would comfort me. There would be days where I have to go somewhere and I would be like, God, what am I gonna wear? And he would tell me. There would be days where I would be just driving and he would just share something with me in Dihleke. To someone who does not have a relationship with God, of course that sounds crazy. But when you are in a relationship with him, there would be days when people look at you, but when you know that you are with him. So I want to say, let's try having a relationship with God. It always has failed, but God will never fail us.
And more than half the time, the reason for that is because even amongst ourselves in the church, as brothers and sisters, I mean, I can go as far back as in the family, as siblings.
Yeah.
We do step on each other's toes. It does happen, but we don't say, you're no longer my brother.
Yeah.
You're no longer my sibling.
That's true.
If even between parents and children, you don't cut the relations altogether. And the nature of the relationship between human beings is actually going to be such that you will hurt me and I will hurt you sometime.
Yeah.
And it's a question of us mending that, because wherever I go, if I leave you because I feel that you are hurting me, and then I go to another place, you're going to find human beings. For as long as they are human beings, they are going to nip you somewhere else as well. It's going to be a circle that continues and on and on and on. And as we speak today, we are right in the heart of Youth Month. We are living in the times when youth are faced two things which I believe are very problematic. Number one, they are faced with a huge platform where everybody speaks their mind, and a lot of the times it's not the positives. We talked about the young people of 1976 for a very long time, how they charted their own path. Do you think that the young people today are actually doing the same, or they're busy with something else? And how do you speak to them to actually do something? Because the responsibility at the end of the day, it also lies, on them.
Okay, to answer that, at the beginning before we started filming, you asked me what my motto is, what do I believe in?
Yeah.
And my motto is that wherever you go, you leave a mark, because you are uniquely created, which means there's something in you that you carry that the next person does not have. Yes. So it's very compulsory that wherever you go, you make it known that ONELA and it be visible and not be forgotten. And I believe that one of the things we can use as abantu abatsha of this time is to first understand our purpose, to first search for that purpose, because sometimes purpose yakho, it will, your qualification first, it will manifest, or it will make a difference. I studied public relations, and I remember when I started with it, my parents were like, where are you going to get a job? And most people said, you're going to get a job in Joburg. But my parents were like, you're not going to go to Joburg. Okay. So the minute I found my purpose.
And what did you say?
Okay.
Good kid.
So the minute I found my purpose, this whole public relation thing made sense to them. They were like, oh, it made sense to them. So I believe that if we can start with finding our purpose, and then everything else will make sense, and also we'll be able to make a difference, even with as the youth of today, we'll be able to make a difference, because those understand the purpose, and the next person and the next person, we're able to function and bring the change. You'd find that I'm Christian influencing, and as I'm Christian influencing, there's another one who's found their purpose in media, for example, and the only thing I need to do is to be present, and then they do the next thing, and everyone now is operating, and everyone is operating in their field. And I believe kasi find a purpose here to minimize anemigo, depression, because akom duza uhlala athi andina qualification, or I'm not getting employment, or if we find our purpose yako will make you uvuke kuseni and do something.
I had said earlier on that I'm struggling to contain myself.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to interject, but you really, really are yanking my chain in here. This thing that you were saying, that you do what you do. And then there's another one who is in media. Because the fact that you are doing public relations, and it has to be in that space. We're living in the times of, the fourth industrial revolution already, as it is. We are living online. You don't also have to have the things who's going to do media in order for you to do this, and also still have to fund that, and also have to go and produce material and stuff like that. And that's one of the things that's really draining us. But not only that, this is very important. Jeez, you have no idea what you just said. Well, you do, but I want us to pause there, because it's very important. Linking up, it's the thing that actually we are missing to talk about. You spoke about finding purpose, and one of the things that I am sort of like alive to is when we say words that they don't end up sounding like meaningless cliches. That that is why I listen to motivational speakers with caution, to say that motivational speaking is good, but it should go beyond just exciting people at that particular time. At the biggest, if I were to be a motivational speaker, the biggest take home for me, and something that is of importance and of substance, would be if I would impact someone, and they really make a real life meaningful change that is actually going to be, when they speak, they actually slide into that thing, like easing into their own purpose, and they start doing. Because if I can do that, then you have not only created an opportunity for that particular person, but you have opened doors for many. Because every one of us, what I do will definitely benefit what you do, and I will benefit from what you do, and the next person will do that. And we're having a challenge of everybody wanting to do the same thing. This ONELA is doing this, I also want to do it. No one wants to say, this is not ONELA is doing this. What does she need in order for what she's doing to actually be put out there, that I can go and get into that space and say, okay, you have that, I have this. And then another one says, okay, JT has this, that puts ONELA there. Where does he buy this? So I can go and get those and say, but JT, you don't have to go that way. I will do this. And then when you do this, and then we continue like that. And then someone comes and say, look, you have a good thing going on there. I'm good at creating, user-friendly interfaces that will make sure that the communication is out there, because it's both a passion and a frustration to say that it's right here. It's right here. If you can just grab it. What do you sense? We should be doing as people like yourself and myself with our different expertise and experiences.
I think Tina, we need to push more into of living your purpose to begin with, and also being unapologetic about it. Yes, and also emphasizing on the fact that the little that you have, start with it. You mentioned something that I can relate to a lot. I have so many young people who DM me at Umdu. I want to start this, but problem is I don't have a capital. I want to start this, but I don't. And I always say, start with what you have, the little that you have, and then be consistent. You start with it and you be consistent. And as you are doing it, someone will recognize you. When I started with my influencing, I never in my life thought and be filmed and someone calling me saying,
and by the way, you did not call me to ask for this.
Yes,
I had to headhunt you.
He called me.
I had to get you from Msebenzi, busy, I yanked you out of there.
Yeah. So as you are doing it consistently, ukhona someone who's going to notice you and say, you know what, this for me, it's TV for me. People close to me know that one of my biggest dreams is to be on TV. So this is my dream. I'm living my dream right now.
All because you were I'm
doing
yourself,
my thing,
living in your purpose. You were not even chasing TV, but you did yourself, and TV is chasing you now. And this is just a very, very small platform. You're still going places, by the way.
It's just the beginning, After this, I know, but boom. So if we can just be those people, if we can just emphasize that, and of course, Sibe, I love being authentic. Be as authentic as you can be to the people. People need to know, Nokbana, I'm facing this challenge and I'm filming with my cell phone. I'm doing it with this. People need to know, because people don't want to do these things because you have to have this glitz and glam before you can do it. And then after it, we have to emphasize on the fact that there's also a small project that I'm going to begin with, but you'll hear about it as Ixesha Lihamba. And
I'll definitely yank you into it as well, because I want to know about it.
So that project I'm starting with, it's not small though.
It's a small thing, but it's a big thing because it has to start there.
It's a big thing.
And in fact, I have reason to believe that this is actually one of the biggest blockades for progress and for growth, for development, personal development, and for success, in inverted commas. That people, when you give a person a seat, they look at the size of a seat and say, what am I going to do with this? And if you say to a person, I'm going to give you 3 cameras and 3 lights and 3 microphones and all of that, then they will say, if you give me that, then I will do television production. They're waiting for that, but they will not start with a cell phone. And that is where the biggest problem is. And that's why I'm saying that it's small. What you're saying, it's small, but in its smallness, it's big.
It's big, yes.
And I'd love to see that.
You see, now you're pushing me to band it.
No, it's fine. You can keep it a secret for as long as you can be able to keep it.
Let me try.
All right.
So this project I'll be working on, it's something that I'll be investing most of my time in. There's no funding. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know who I'm going to approach, and I don't know if it's going to work. But because of mna believe in dokubana mandiqale, and also I believe that it's going to bring a change. I'm going to start with it, and like I'm saying, I don't even know if I'm going to get to one point to another and zayenza kanjani. But I told myself that I'm going to start with a very small group. And I'm going to be consistent in that small group. And in the funding that I'm going to be in need of, it will catch up with me. So if we can have land or emphasizing ezazinto ebantwini, because sometimes you find that kuthiwa influencer, but as long as we track it down, man, but ufike njani to that point, you know. I think we need to be that authentic that even people abasijongile are able to learn and track down doba. This is where she started. She started with having 50 views for 5 weeks or for 5 months.
Even 50 views is a lot.
You know? It's a lot.
Some people start with no view.
It's a lot.
1 view.
It's a lot.
And you keep at it.
At it. It's a lot. I always say, land your views, you might take it for granted, but take those 50 people and put them in a room. That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
Take those 100 views that you keep getting. That's a lot of people.
And those people are actually paying with their data.
You know?
So the fact that they actually came and said they spend their data, there must be something of value there.
There must be something, yes. So if we can have that land of emphasizing, being consistent, starting with what you have, and you know, and treat it as though every video, every content that I create, in mind, ndibukele overseas, in mind, ndibukele TV, you know, in mind, I have people who know of me. Even when I walk into a room, and I'm like, like, everyone knows my name. That's the mindset I always have, because that's who I want to be. That's where I want to be in life. So if a person, I walk into a room and they don't know me, then I really feel sorry for them. And they ask you know, if they don't know my name, you know. So if we can have la mindset of emphasizing to people, start with what you have, be consistent in it, and start walking in it as well. Though ingaka manifest, but start walking in it. And when I started walking into this Christian influencing, I was shocked. Everyone at church started calling me Christian influencer, and I thought to myself, kunini ndiyenza lento, kunini ningandibizi lento, you know, kusuka kwathini. It's because I kept on doing it. I did it when they were cheering for me. I did it when they were not cheering for me. I kept on doing it until bakondoba. In fact, uyiyo wethu. You know,
as you're speaking, a lot of beautiful, powerful nuggets just come back into my head. And here is the thing, you know, the first one is, I'm getting from what you're saying, and it's so true, that if you don't take yourself serious and you expect people to take you serious first, not before you take yourself serious, literally you're already starting on a wrong note. And in fact, you are digging a grinding hole for yourself, you know, stopping yourself from chances of ever, you know, progressing in life. But here's another thing, and I want to bring this to the attention of the viewers. A lot of viewers do not know this thing. That the first time I spoke with ONELA, it was when she saw something that I put up on social media, and she had the guts to say, "Ukolo puti," and she a long thing on my DM, a long thing explaining why she wants to come where I'm doing what I do, so that she can learn from what I'm doing. And in fact, she actually even went on to say, I'll even pay for that. For me, that caught me, and I'll tell you why. When you started what you did, when I started seeing you doing what you were doing, it was not the most sophisticated thing you did, but the way it was selling a corn. Is me selling? I'll actually say
TV.
Is me selling? And that's what you did, and consistently, persistently, over and over, perpetually, you did it. And you never even got to come to me uzobukela lento endiyenzayo because and even pay for it so that I teach you some of the skill that I have. And I'll tell you why I did that to you. I did that to you because it was done to me, and I'm grateful. There's a man, I'll always refer to this. There's a man called Butch Kutsia.
Okay.
who's a filmmaker. That man, I made a call exactly that you did to me, that you made to me. I made that call to him. Then I was staying in King Williamstown and he was in East London. And I asked him, let me do everything that you hate doing. Just allow me to see what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you teach me some of the things that you're doing. That's all I need. And I don't even need for you to transport me to the places. Wherever you go, I will do that myself. Still, he gave me a run around for more than 6 months.
Okay.
The time when he said to me he was going to give me a chance, he didn't say it in that way. He said, send me some of the work that you have done, because I was persistent. Because I know that I'm good at what I do. I'm passionate about what I do.
Yeah.
But I know that he has experience. He has amava.
Yeah.
He has all the places that he has walked into that I don't need to walk into, because they would not avail anything.
Yeah.
He would know what pit holes I should actually not go to. You know? And he said, let me see what you have done. And then I showed him what I've done. He said, my God, with this kind of work, what else do you want from me?
Yeah.
But even then, I did not allow that to say, oh, must I got this? I said, no, but I still want yours.
And it's exactly what you did to me.
And then I had fun, doing it.
Because I
thought you were going to hate me.
No, I remember when I met you in person, and I kept asking you, how do you do it? And you're like, no, YouTube. And I went home and like, there's no way I'm going to look for it in YouTube. If he can do it and he found it, I'm going to look for it. And
and there we are. Mrs. SIGOBELWANA, thank you ever so much for gracing me with your presence. I really enjoy your spirit. I enjoy your heart. I enjoy just your surrounding. You're such a pleasure to have around. I couldn't, emphasize more just how much of a positive atmosphere you bring, the joyous atmosphere you bring into the room. One parting shot. How do people get the hold of you on these platforms, and what kind of activities can people actually get you up to?
Okay, people can find me on social media, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on TikTok now.
I was thinking when he said TikTok, I was like, so are you also dancing?
No, I get there and I do exactly what I do on other social platforms. I pray.
All right.
I share what's in my spirit.
Okay. So your social media handles on Facebook?
At ONELA SIGOBELWANA, it's just one word. On Instagram, it's ONELA_SIGOBELWANA. And on YouTube, it's ONELA SIGOBELWANA. So it's all the same thing, ONELA SIGOBELWANA.
It's just ONELA SIGOBELWANA.
If you just search ONELA,
you cover
I pop up.
Now, if that's not confidence, I don't know what is.
Just type ONELA.
You'll be
Abanye
sad.
ONELA ke bavele ezantsi, but mine phezulu.
Alrighty. What would you want to say to the viewers before I let you go, just as a word of encouragement?
As a word of encouragement to the viewers who have been watching, first of all, I would like to thank them for watching, and I appreciate also being here. It's a big honor for me. This is my dream, as I was saying.
Oh, man.
And to the viewers, I want to leave you with the words from Paul that I quoted, that not that I've achieved it all, but I choose to press towards the mark of the high calling. I choose towards pressing to my goal. And I want to say to you, whatever it is that you believe that you are on this earth for, press towards it, press towards reaching it, and start living your life as though you are it, as though you have achieved it. There will be things that you will encounter as you are doing it. There will be challenges. Also, dibana nazo. I also do face those challenges. But one thing that makes me to hold on is knowing that there's a goal.
Yes.
And I choose to fix my eyes on the goal, irregardless. So I want you to start walking in it. I want you after today to start telling yourself that you are that CEO, you are that influencer, you are that business person. Irregardless of what's happening, you are that. And you start focusing on the goal. Everything else that happens must happen with you not losing the focus on the goal.
Well, couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you ever so much, Mrs. SIGOBELWANA. Much appreciated. Everything of the best. I definitely hope that this is not the last time that you'll be here. In fact, this is not going to be the last time, that's for sure.
Definitely.
I'm already practicing what you just said right now. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mrs. ONELA SIGOBELWANA. Indeed, this kind of power, this kind of energy, you cannot let it go to waste. Easing into purpose is where it's at with me, J.Thebehadi. SM3, that is the Studio Media 3, is where it's taking place, and powered, of course, by Focus Media SA. May God richly bless you.